Have you noticed that narcissism is a topic that seems to be kind of everywhere right now? And the thing is, narcissism probably hasn't gotten any bigger than it's ever been, but the awareness of it has grown. And the reason that is because we're in a period of spiritual ascension and all the crap is coming to the surface. And narcissism is kind of like one of those master issues that contains a lot of other issues within it. So I want to talk about this emerging understanding of narcissism and how it fits in to the spiritual acceleration. When we get into an age of spiritual acceleration, what happens is that we start becoming aware of a lot of the negative stuff that has been holding us down. And it's kind of like the more you shine the light, the more you see the dirt. And so we're in a time of cleansing and transformation, both on the personal level, but also on the group level, on the global level. And so narcissism is one of these things that has to go for us to truly ascend. You can't take narcissism to the higher realms. It just does not work. It never will. Okay, that as we are ascending, it's not as fun as some people would want it to be, right? A lot of people would think of ascension as just everything gets great and everybody's happy and there's no more war and we all sing Kumbaya all day long and it's just a beautiful thing. Doesn't sound that great to me. But the truth is that as humanity ascends, what really happens is that we have to go to the depths of our deepest issues. See, ascension in general is about releasing duality, releasing selfishness, waking up to all is one, waking up to everything is divine, everything is spirit. And as we awaken to that, well, we necessarily notice all of the thought forms and emotional patterns and ego positions that hold us back from that. Narcissism is one of the main aspects of that. Narcissism thrives where emotional honesty, empathy, and self-awareness are lacking. So if we are going to get to a place of emotional honesty, empathy, and self-awareness, and as we do so, we start noticing all the narcissism around us. And we start noticing how certain narcissistic people around us make this quest harder. And so what happens is, as we connect more deeply, as we seek to move into this honest, vulnerable, empathetic state of being, we find ourselves getting smacked upside the head by the narcissist in our presence, and it's no fun. We can't hide from the patterns anymore. That's the thing about turning up the light, raising the frequency. In the past, we could hide. And now it's becoming clearer. And people are making choices. People are not going along with the program when it comes to narcissists. And so part of healing this process is that we first have to acknowledge narcissism. Now, beware. Okay, it's going to be very tempting to call every act of selfishness narcissism. It's a normal thing that's going to happen. Narcissism is a psychiatric disorder, as well as a set of traits that don't make it to that psychiatric disorder level. And so when we go and call everybody narcissist because we don't like what they're doing or they're being selfish or whatever, we got to be careful about that. We can talk about narcissism and narcissistic traits, but try to refrain from putting a psychiatric diagnosis on people just because you don't like their selfish behavior. Now, one thing that makes narcissism really tricky is when you have narcissism in families, especially when you have a parent who is a narcissist. Because a parent who's a narcissist will not acknowledge that there is a problem, that they are mistreating anybody. They will not acknowledge that they need to change. And narcissism also is a wound and a pattern that's passed down through generations. So, how do you stay loving in your family of origin while also walking away from narcissism? Do you have a family member who constantly demands attention, manipulates, or disregards your feelings? Well, if so, some kind of boundaries are going to have to be created. There are narcissistic people that are not going to be part of the spiritual ascension process, and I don't want to demonize these people and make it like they are stopping your growth or something, but they may be. But they can't do it without your cooperation, without your lack of boundaries. So it's really about looking at the family wounds. It's about setting the boundaries and doing whatever therapy or personal growth work that you need to do, clearing issues. Like I help people through energy healing, past life regression, intuitive consulting. You might want to do more of a traditional talk therapy. But whatever you need to do, you need to learn over time to set the boundaries. And one of the boundaries that you need to learn to set is to not negotiate with the narcissist so much. It's not about negotiating with the narcissist. You know, a lot of times I found myself in situations with narcissists where I'm trying to explain their behavior to them. And I'm trying to ask them to please recognize their behavior and not do it. Now, a lot of times what the narcissist will do is they will nod along with you. And they will thank you for your honesty and being so open and sharing. And then later on, they'll get you back. Not all narcissistic people will do that, but some of them will. So don't be a sucker when it comes to negotiating with the narcissist, because you might think you're doing the right thing and everything, but when you're negotiating with somebody who has that kind of condition going on, and I'm refraining from calling them evil or anything like that, but when they have that, They don't really want to improve. They want you to shut up. And they're not going to necessarily tell you to shut up, but they're going to punish you for wounding them with this information, because narcissists have certain unspoken, or a lot of times very spoken, rules about what you are allowed to think and what you are allowed to say and what you are allowed to believe and what you're not allowed to think, say, and believe. So realize that this pattern of narcissism it comes out of wounding, and it's oftentimes passed down the generations. One thing you can do is really look at yourself and make sure that the buck stops here, that this is the last generation that deals with it. And if you have kids, they're not going to deal with your narcissism. And if you have some, well, if you're listening to this, you're probably not a full-blown narcissist, because narcissists would think this doesn't apply to them. So, or they would think, well, it applies to them because I got to deal with these other narcissists, but I'm not one. So sometimes you're going to have to create big boundaries with your family. Sometimes you're going to have to go no contact with certain members of your family. And remember, if you cut off a narcissist, they are going to send what's called flying monkeys. They're going to send people, like, you cut off mom because she's a narcissist, and you go no contact with mom. Well, now dad's calling you, siblings are calling you, grandparents are calling you, uncles and aunts are calling you. And, they're just like, can't you guys just fix this? This is really sad, seeing the family like this, whatever. Refrain from explaining the whole thing, and refrain from trying to convince everybody that this person is truly a narcissist. A lot of times, the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to get back to the narcissist and just piss them off even more. Now, the next thing is, what if you're in a relationship with a narcissist? And the thing is, it's easy to get into a relationship with a narcissist because they have a pattern of how they bring you in. They pull you in with love bombing. And love bombing is what it sounds like. They bombard you with love. They fill you up with praise, and they think everything you say and do and how you dress and all of that is total genius. They do that until you have invested in them. Well, then they devalue you. But the thing is, I heard a long time ago, back in the days of crack, that the best time you'll ever have on crack is the first hit you smoke. And after that, you're just chasing that high forever. Well, that's the kind of high that a narcissistic partner gives you. They give you the feeling like, you've never been loved like this before. That's a song, right? And you think, and then they have a reason, it's your fault that things changed. And so it's almost like a vampire thing. They keep you working to get them back, and it's almost like they're feeding off of that energy. Being with a narcissist will drain you because of this vampiric effect. It will confuse you. It'll leave you unsupported, because another thing they do is they try to cut off all your other sources of support. Family, friends, whoever, groups that you're in. They try to make themselves your entire world, so that if you leave them, you have nothing. And that's how cults operate too. So, first of all, you need to be aware of narcissism. And watch the videos of Dr. Ramani on YouTube, Ramani, if you don't know her. She is an excellent resource on all of the ins and outs of narcissism. She taught me most of what I know about it at an embarrassingly late stage of my career as a healer. It's really important when you have identified that you are in a narcissistic relationship to step back and reevaluate. I'm not telling you you have to break up or anything like that, but you need to step back a little bit. You need to slow things down and not make any if you figure it out on the night before your wedding, you might not want to go through with the wedding. I'm saying you might not want to take any forward steps. When you have just moved in with a partner and you figure this out, you might want to move out, not move in the first place. It's really about taking care of yourself, and it's really about also part of your boundaries, not sharing too much of that caretaking. If you're going to a therapist to figure out how to deal with your narcissistic partner, that narcissistic partner is they're going to be pissed off that you're going to a therapist to deal with them because they don't acknowledge they have any issues of that kind. And B, they're going to want to know everything that was said in the session. You're not going to make much progress. In fact, you're going to sabotage any progress that you could make. A lot of us have been conditioned through our lives to accept poor treatment. A lot of us really don't know what love truly is. And so we need to come into this place of self-love where we are not as susceptible to the gaslighting of the narcissist, because that's what they will do. They will tell you not to believe your lying eyes and to believe them, not to trust your intuition, not to trust your emotions, to trust them over all of that. Now, there's some other issues around narcissism that have been blown up, and it's typical that when you have something like an age of ascension, that you have other trends that go along simultaneously. And what we have going along with us right now, along with the whole narcissism issue, is the digital age. We have cell phones, selfies, social media. We have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, where people can work out their narcissistic fantasies and their idealized self-images to an audience sometimes of millions. So this is dream come true for any true narcissist. And it's something that we need to watch. All of these things, social media, selfies, cell phones, whatever, they're fine to a certain degree. But they can lead to not only narcissism, but anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues, a lot of things. So it's good to take a little break from that. And it's good to really look at the people that you are opening up to, that you are being vulnerable with, and notice these clues of narcissism in this social media, digital age arena. So what do we do about all this? Number one, we have to realize that we can only heal ourselves. Even people like me who work in the healing field, we're only as good as the healing that we've done on ourselves. And so to embrace the awakening process is to embrace shining the light into the darkest places of your psyche. And expect resistance. Expect all kinds of ways that you try to avoid that. It's about clearing this fog of illusion and delusion and stepping into the light of a more authentic, compassionate, spiritually aligned life. That means getting to a point of clarity where we can trust our intuition. Because to the degree that we have these issues of having to deal with narcissists and so forth, we actually get to a place where we don't trust our intuition. And the narcissists, one of their main tactics is gaslighting, telling you that your feelings, your intuitions, your thoughts, your beliefs are all wrong. Your perception is wrong. In the age of spiritual awakening, consciousness is at the center of everything. And your consciousness is something that you need to clear the reactivity from it, but you need to be centered in this awareness, in your unique awareness. And you need to really watch out for people that try to make you doubt yourself. Now, that is what religion has done for thousands of years, right? Religions start with one person having a true spiritual experience, and then they devolve by having other people create a structure to supposedly get you to that experience, but it doesn't seem to do that very often. It really just creates a system of control and a system of actually disconnecting you from your spirituality rather than connecting you. Healing from narcissism is one of the keys to creating a better world, an ascended world. If we don't do it, we're not going to get there. As we awaken, we not only raise the vibration of the entire planet, but we create a domino effect of awakening upon others. Releasing your relationship patterns with narcissism or narcissists is a crucial part of this process. You do have the power to break free of all illusion, including the illusions brought about by narcissism. It's about reclaiming your true self, your divine connection, your intuition, and the full range of you as a spiritual being. So I'd be really grateful if you guys could put any comments, share your experiences, or ask any questions that you may have in the comments. And just remember, stay conscious and aware. Keep awakening even when it's painful, even when you have to confront unpleasant truths. Keep it going, because when you get in the right position of awakening and you're clearing your issues. The universe truly has your back. The universe wants you awakened. And even when you think the universe is just throwing shit in your face all day long, it's actually waking you up. It's actually showing you the next step. So thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. And if you don't mind, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd really appreciate that. For more information on the work I do, you can go to andysway.com. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.